Hairless podcast. No music this time. I'm working on computer issues. And joining me as always in the bunker of doom, it's the co-host, it's Angie Carrier.
Hi.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, just hanging out in the bunker.
Doing stuff.
Air conditioned.
Talking about bears.
Yeah, talking about bears.
Right on.
We're trapped here because there's nuclear fallout.
There is nuclear fallout. Oh, President Cheeto Jesus. Oh, good God.
If only this was underground.
If there was, if only there was a planet we could go to.
Yeah, that would be really great.
It would be so nice, which brings us to what we're talking about today. Something called Project Serpo.
Serpo.
Fuck. All right. So I think you can tell from my utter disdain how I feel, but I will be quiet. I have some insights that I will talk about later.
Okay.
But as always, I like to let you go first. However, I'm going to make a prediction. As crazy as it is. You and I probably agree about this one.
Sure.
You think?
Yes.
Maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's find out.
Yeah.
So, Ange, what you think?
You should see my last sentence in my notes.
What you think about the Project Serpo? Well, before we, do you want to explain?
I can do it.
All right.
Yeah. So, and then you can, if I say something wrong.
Well, whatever.
So, Project Serpo was essentially, I guess in 2005, a ufologist mailing list, right? Moderated by Victor Martinez, got an anonymous email that said it was from a retired U.S. government official who had top secret security clearance.
Totally.
Saying that essentially there was this exchange program on a planet called Zeta Reticuli. Is that
No, it was in the Zeta Reticuli system.
Oh, Zeta Reticuli.
The planet was called
Serpo. Got it. There we go. So it was allegedly a planet of the binary star system Reticuli. There we go. 39 light years from Earth. It's slightly smaller than Earth, and it has a human breathable atmosphere.
Almost. They had to adapt.
Yeah, and there's no time there. That's another. No time.
Not. Of course.
So Ebens, is that how you say it? Ebens?
Ebens.
I only remember
extraterrestrial biological entities.
Yeah, Ebens live there, and they're short and brown.
Yeah.
Like little wombats.
There you go.
So
little wombats.
I love wombats.
Space
They're
wombats.
my favorite in Australia.
Really?
Yeah, they're so cute.
Over the koala?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I touched the koala, but I like the wombats better.
All right.
So, and little wallabies, because they eat little ice cream
Wallabies are fucking adorable.
Yeah, a little mini kangaroo.
I know. Kangaroos is good eating too.
I've never had.
It's nice.
Yeah. I just saw a lot of them. So 1947, which I realized in all of my research, that 1947 just comes back for us all the time.
It comes back.
Black Dahlia, Roswell.
Roswell, but this is a different 1947 crash, which is actually a very famous incident that we should delve into singularly on its own, because it is very interesting.
This year is just a lot, but which was how many years ago? I'm just kidding.
No.
70.
This is a math-free zone.
No. One Eben survived a crash in Corona, New Mexico. Yep. Yeah, in 1947. So they reverse engineered the ship, and they sent, in 1965, they sent 12 U.S. military astronauts, U.S. military astronauts, and said, set off with what was to be a 10-year mission to Serpo, that they engineered from the saucer, and they used antimatter as the source, before Bob Lazar.
I know.
So 2 died en route, 2 never returned, and they think they still live happily on planet Serpo.
Yeah.
And then the rest came back to Earth in 1978. So it just happened that, though, when they got this email, it happened to coincide with when they were releasing a book.
What? That's crazy.
Just a
hell
coincidence.
You say.
Like, we've been working so hard on our book, and then this happened.
I know. It's weird.
So
lucky.
Yeah.
So, what was the book?
Oh, I don't even remember the name of it. It was Bill Ryan and Keith Cassidy.
No, well...
And Richard Doty. They think that the email person was... So there was the email was...
We'll get into Doty.
Oh, yeah.
That sack of shit.
I knew someone with the last name Doty. I didn't like them,
So, Bill Ryan... I apologize. Go ahead.
No, that was... I was going to talk about Steven Spielberg, but we can talk about that later.
Well, we'll talk about that later because I love that one. That's my favorite thing. That's one of my favorite things. And the whole Serpo... The the logic pretzel that is Serpo. That's one of my favorite things. We'll get into that in a second. So here's the thing, though. Bill Ryan didn't. The book didn't come out as the story came out.
It was like that year.
They were,
later.
Right. They were working on a book. Yeah. My feeling about Bill Ryan is Bill Ryan was, I think, at first a dupe. Like, here was a guy who really didn't have that much to do with the UFO world as far as we could tell, but was not, let us say, a master of industry, was not making a good living. I think he was either approached knowing, oops, I apologize, let me turn all that down. Yeah. I'm a little mixed on Bill Ryan. I think Bill Ryan is, nowadays I think he's just a bullshit artist. Yeah. And I think he was either always a bullshit artist or turned into one. I think he was approached under, either he was an easily manipulated dupe and sort of got sucked into this, or they said, hey man, you want to make some money. Now, there's a website called Above Top Secret, and it's a conspiracy theory website, and a forum, and you talk about all these things. And I was very involved in Above Top Secret when the Serpo story broke, and it was Bill Ryan who came to Above Top Secret and wanted, and Serpo had been around for about a month, and it was sort of going around, and there were threads on it, and I don't know if one of the owners, I know Bill Ryan approached one of the owners and wanted to come on and talk about it. Yeah. And I was actually a moderator on the forum at the time.
I probably saw some of your posts when I was reading through them.
Yeah, it's highly possible. If you saw any posts by Spider J, that was me. But we all warned Bill. We did. We warned him. We said, look, we are looking for the truth. If we smell bullshit, we will destroy you. And not destroy you in the sense of we're going to be petty or whatever. Yeah. You don't understand who you are dealing with. Yeah. We are anal. We love research. We want the truth. We want the truth, and we want facts. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, when you're dealing with something like this, unfortunately, their facts are few and far between, but it is, if you do the research, it is easy to get to the bottom of something in terms of, is it, like, we were always very careful that if it was someone who was coming online to talk about a personal experience, I saw a UFO, I had an encounter, I did this, it would be like, okay, well, this is just someone who's on here sharing, wants to talk about something. And we were chill. Okay, you saw a UFO. What did it look like? It looked like this. Well, what do you think it was? And you'd have a very civil discussion. Yeah. But if someone, not even Bill Ryan, if someone came online and said, I have proof from a government source that this is, and it was someone either trying to do viral marketing or just being a troll or perpetrating a hoax, for the lulz, really. Yeah. Do the kids still say the lulz?
I don't think so. But I never did.
But just looking to have a little fun. Oh, we would ruin you. Look, and if you had something that turned out where we went, okay, that's interesting. Yeah. We would. But if it was obviously, like, I have one personal experience where I was moderating a forum, and this guy comes on, and he's like, I've got proof, I've got footage of the underground, of an underground base.
The Denver airport.
The Denver airport. But it was an underground base where they were experimenting on aliens, and this was taken, and I'm watching this footage going, first of all, this is just video. Yeah. And it was taken in 1952. Well, all I know is this. I shouldn't say that. This was a long time ago. Yeah. It was taken at a certain time. Yeah. And there were hazmat you know, the hazmat symbol.
Yeah.
Okay? And the hazmat symbol was all over this place to show that it was hazardous material and whatever. And I'm like, this just doesn't seem right. So I went on, I did a lot of, I did about 5 to 10 minutes of research and ended up on the Harvard University website that talked about how the hazmat symbol was developed. And the fact that the hazmat symbol didn't even exist until 12 years after this video was supposedly taken. You know what I mean? So very easily debunked. And I went back and I went, okay, I'm shutting this down because you're a lying sack of shit. If you can explain to me why there is a symbol that didn't exist in footage that was taken supposedly 12 years before the symbol did exist, and make it a logical reason, we can talk about this. But if your reason's going to be the symbol was a secret for 12 years, so I want to know. He just disappeared. He never came back. So when Bill Ryan came to Above Top Secret, we told him, said, be very, very careful with us.
Yeah.
We want the truth. But if we think you're just pulling a fast one, if we think you're doing this for other reasons, man, we're coming. We're coming for you.
Right.
And I think to the site's benefit, and quite frankly, done by, not done by me, although I feel good about throwing in some logic bombs during the discussion, but there were like 3 or 4, I apologize, ATS members that went deep, and debunked the whole fucking thing. It was one of the proudest ATS moments, that this thing, and it should have been a proud moment.
Yeah.
Because the fucking thing won't die.
Right.
It won't fucking die.
12 years later.
Die, you bastard. Die. This thing was debunked thoroughly by the people of AboveTopSecret.com. And it just won't go away.
I think the thing that they mentioned, I was reading through the forums, is the time thing.
Yeah.
For you to be able to like measure the way that you're supposed to land and all that, you need some kind of a measurement system. And if there's no time.
But the only reason there would be no time is, here's the thing people tend to forget. What's the most powerful force in the universe?
Gravity.
Yeah. It doesn't feel powerful.
Right.
But it pervades everything.
Yeah.
With gravity, there's nothing.
Yeah.
With gravity, there's no orbits. There's no, us. There's no atmospheres.
Yeah.
There's nothing. So, if there's no time, there's no gravity. If there's no gravity, there's no life. So, of course, there's time.
Right.
But also, there were other things where, I don't know if you read it in the forums, where Bill was offering proof. He was going to show pictures, and then there was always an excuse. There was always an excuse, and there was always an excuse. And that's because they either hadn't made the pictures yet, or they didn't think it through. They didn't realize.
A better graphic designer.
Well, but there were other forums out there at the time that he was also posting on, I believe, that were far less rigorous. And you could get away with bullshit like that. You couldn't get away with it with us. And so, you had the timeline problem.
Yeah.
And then we will touch on Spielberg real quick. You see, Spielberg, who is part of the Illuminati Jew cabal that the government works with to disseminate information of top secret things, was told about Project Serpo, and that's why at the end of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, you see this exchange between aliens and humans, because that's what he was told. Or the people who came up with the Project Serpo lie used the Spielberg movie as a plot point in their story, which is far more possible.
And they were using that he got a 20-page letter from NASA asking him not to make the movie, and he was like, they quoted him out of context in the one serious article that is serious from the people who believe Serpo article. They said he said something must have been happening if NASA told him not to make the movie, like he was touching on something, and they're like, it makes you wonder, where did he get his intelligence? Right. It's like, or if you read the full quote, it talks about Jaws, because people kind of panicked after Jaws because there was like sharks were like the enemy, and NASA at the time thought that it was possible that it would cause some panic in people.
Yeah,
it wasn't because he was touching on something real.
Right. But it's one of those things where, and quite frankly, in NASA's defense, and rarely will you hear me defend NASA. Yeah. And also remember, it was a different time. Yeah. It was a different time. You had to stand in line to see a movie.
Right.
You couldn't just download stuff. A movie came and went from the theater and you never fucking saw it again.
Right.
Yeah. So, look, I saw Jaws. I didn't go in the fucking pool for 4 years, man. NASA, while wrong, not wrong to do it, while wrong in their perception.
Yeah.
Because the aliens in the end weren't eating people. You know, all NASA heard was Spielberg, aliens, shit.
Yeah.
So hi, Mr. Spielberg. Listen.
There was all this stuff about like Jimmy Carter getting a personal screening, and there's like they have a photo of them together, but they both denied ever being together. It was like all these people were like.
But what really happened was the people who came up with the Serpo lie used the plot point from the Spielberg movie and incorporated it into
their lie.
Yeah.
Or and like also maybe they watched Contact because the no time thing, like there's.
Yeah, was Contact out in 2005?
I think so. I thought it was before that.
It's possible, but mainly it was. But no, they drew from a bunch of different things. But but the thing about Serpo is there's only one piece of evidence I need, aside from the mountain of evidence that it's bullshit.
Yeah.
And what's amazing now is there's like videos on YouTube that show like Planet Serpo, and it's so obviously fake. It drives me crazy.
They have a lot of time on their hands.
They really do. But here's how I know it's fake. Because of the involvement of one man. And that man is Richard Doty.
Oh yeah.
What a sack of shit. Now, I shouldn't say a sack of shit, but he is, in the sense that he drove a man insane.
Yeah.
You're an asshole. Richard C. Doty is a former FOSI officer, Air Force Office of Special Intelligence. And his job was disinformation. That's what his job was. And he was retired at the time. But again, 2005, 12 years ago, almost 13 years ago, it was a different time.
Yeah.
And when you have huge forums online where people are discussing this stuff before YouTube was there, but YouTube wasn't YouTube.
Yeah.
Not what it is now. When you have, and it's an old government ploy, when you have a lot of people in one place discussing intelligently these sorts of topics, one of the best things you can do is salt the field. You discredit the whole thing by getting them to believe this thing that you can then later come out and prove is not true. And I think the problem they had, because ATS at the time, it was, again, I haven't been on there in a long time, nothing against those guys. It's just your life moves on, and I'm so busy now, and I just don't have time. But they're all wonderful people. But covered tons of different topics, and in some cases were breaking stories and really doing some good work. Yeah, man, if I'm working in disinformation, it's a good place to discredit, and it didn't go down. Of course, you had members who believed Serpo, but for the most part, I hope you got from those threads, especially the one that I think is like 180 some odd pages. It thoroughly got debunked, and Bill Ryan was basically kicked off the site, and so it sort of didn't go the way they wanted. But it was during the investigations that the Doty thing came up. What do you know about Richard Doty?
No, not other than that they figured out that the anonymous guy was him,
right?
Because he was a security guard and he had a book to sell.
Right. So let me give you a little. Here's all you need to know about Richard Doty. So back in, I want to say the late 70s, there's a guy named Paul Benowitz who lived outside of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and ran a company, Thunder Cloud Engineering or something like that. He was a very smart man. And Paul Benowitz believed he was intercepting alien communications, and he was seeing. And again, this was not a dumb guy, but mentally borderline. You know, it's a fine line between genius and crazy.
Yeah.
And he began observing craft that he thought were alien craft. Now, and it was near Kirtland Air Force Base. And I'm sort of mixing and melding things here, but there is a huge thing in the conspiracy world about an underground base in Dulce, New Mexico. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with that yet?
No, but we were going to talk about that at some point.
We'll dig deep on that one. Paul Benowitz is sort of the guy that...
Yeah, I think we talked about him maybe during the Denver episode.
Maybe, but Paul Benowitz is the guy that... people are going to be pissed off at me for saying this, but Paul's the guy that created that. Mm-hmm. He's the guy that came up with that theory that there was an underground base. And
I think we just mentioned his name.
Yeah, I think it was because of Phil Schneider, who was in a laser gun fight at Dulce.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking of, the P names.
Yeah.
Short 4-letter P names.
Yeah. So Paul Benowitz contacts the people at Kirtland. I believe it was Kirtland. Mm-hmm. It was certainly one of the air bases. And basically, and this is just, I'm taking a very long, complicated story and I'm making it very short. Yeah. Richard Doty, who was the FOC intelligence officer, was assigned to Benowitz. And basically what Benowitz was really seeing, what we believe Benowitz was really seeing and intercepting were encrypted communications, terrestrial and experimental craft. Yeah. And instead of just going to him, because Benowitz had this penchant for being very over the top, extreme, and hyperbolic, instead of going to him and going, listen, man, just it's us, just chill out. Either the Office of Intelligence or Doty himself decided what would be really good is to make this guy believe he is seeing aliens. Mm-hmm. And apologies, I'm taking a sip of water. And really what Doty ended up doing is driving this guy insane. Yeah. Not like literally went out of his way to fill this guy with so much false information and even, and this is now getting more into rumor, but I certainly believe it, even doing stuff where they're messing with him with having him hear voices and all this stuff, and drove this man insane. Yeah. And it was soon after this where Doty retired. Yeah. Or what I think was told, we're going to allow you to be honorably discharged, but you're a dick. You didn't have to do this. Yeah. Now, and I'm not in Doty's defense, but it's not a bad plan. I mean, Area 51 did it for years, which is if they think it's aliens, let's let them think it's aliens, so they don't know what we're really testing. Yeah. It doesn't discount like my belief that Area 51, it may be all terrestrial crap, but some of it's probably back engineered by retrieval, stuff we retrieve. But Doty just went so far above and beyond, and my personal feeling is because he thought it was fun to drive this guy insane. Cool. Yeah. And I believe once he retired, I say with air quotes, that he was most likely still employed off book, because you may not like a guy that drove a man insane while trying to protect government secrets, but you can't really fault his methods. Right. I mean, he certainly, because without Doty, there would not be the Dulce myth and all these other things. And I'm not saying there aren't underground bases. I'm not saying there's not an underground base in Dulce. I don't think it is what the vast majority of believers think it is. But, if I hear Richard, and Doty's gone on tape, talking about how I'm a changed man and I'm this and I'm that. And I don't think he is. If I hear Richard Doty is involved in something, it's fake. He's such a piece of shit. And I'm a little confused on I didn't know it was, maybe I'm remembering incorrectly. Where did you read that it was Doty who was writing the book?
I don't remember. I have I opened up a bunch of articles. Yeah, it said that, well, maybe it was the way they phrased it was different. Because this Reality Uncovered network figured out that it was Richard C. Doty, and who was a security guard at United States Air Force Intelligence.
Yeah, but he wasn't a security guard. He was an intelligence. Yeah, no, they were wrong. He was a fucking intelligence officer.
Huh. Yeah, but it said he had a book. He said he had a book to sell, and then they talked about Bill Ryan and Keith Cassidy, who also had a book to sell.
Carrie Cassidy.
Oh, that was Keith.
No, Carrie. It's a woman.
Oh.
Yeah, they're no longer working together.
Somebody edited.
Or no, they just wrote it down wrong because they're not reporters and they're not good.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, and so I was going to say, it said that they were together, and I was like, oh, a gay couple, that's nice.
Gay UFO hunters.
Yeah, that's cute.
Yay. Pride.
Yeah, because their book was coming out in 2006.
Yeah, they were, basically, it was a way, I think, for...
Yeah, because that didn't make sense if Richard Doty wanted to sell a book.
Yeah.
He was still employed.
No, I think it was, well, he was employed.
Yeah. Or he was just trying to get his rocks off, still doing that kind of
shit. Or
he
was doing work for the government.
Yeah.
The government's like, okay, let's see who we can, destroy. And destroy in the sense of we need to keep, we need to keep the UFO community discredited, the paranormal community discredited. So, well, what about Richard? He drove that one guy insane.
Yeah.
Well, let's give him a call. Maybe he's not doing anything.
Yeah.
Hey, Rick. No, here's what I believe it was Doty approached Paul Ryan.
Paul Ryan?
I'm sorry. Bill Ryan. They're both assholes.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I apologize. One's an idiot. The other's an idiot. So approach Bill Ryan. Excuse me. And here's a thing, and maybe you can turn it into a book. Maybe you can. Maybe that's how they approach them. And I love how people think they're going to write a book and get rich and famous. And it's just, again, trust me, not how it works.
No.
But what did end up happening, which is interesting, is Bill Ryan and Carrie Cassidy, after the Serpo debacle, which they never truly walked away from, they were asked to leave above top secret, but they went to other websites and they formed this thing called Project Camelot, where they were now in the UFO business, and they're investigating, I say again with air quotes, other cases and whatever. And over the course of time, Bill Ryan and Carrie Cassidy went their separate ways, and they're both doing different things, but they're still both in the UFO world. And Carrie always came off to me as the one way more sincere, like really wanting to know what was going on. And Bill always came off to me as a failed guy looking to make a buck.
Yeah.
And maybe that's my own bias. I look at a guy like Bill Ryan and I go, he just looks like a guy and sounds like a guy. Any guy in the UFO field who always wants you to know about how little they knew about UFOs and how they don't really believe it while trying to sell you DVDs, I'm a little iffy on.
Paul Ryan and Bill Ryan.
Bill Ryan.
Just trying to make a buck.
Paul Ryan much better at selling out than Bill Ryan.
Yes.
So for me, it's again, because we live in a world, in the conspiracy world, where you're rarely, excuse me, are you going to get hard evidence.
Yeah.
It's who do you believe?
Yeah.
And so, well, okay, here's a couple of guys. We got Richard Doty, and we got a guy like Bill Ryan, who, it's the same problem I have. Well, Richard Doty's just a sack of shit.
Yeah.
But my Bill Ryan problem is he might be a con man sack of shit, or he might fall into the same area of the problem I have with George Norrie, who is the host of Coast to Coast AM, which is a late night paranormal talk show.
Yeah.
Which is where I don't think George Norrie is a con man. George Norrie's a moron. He believes
Everything.
everything. Fuck, man.
Before effect?
Huh?
Before effect?
For effect?
Like, does he believe everything for effect on the show? Like, that's
No.
the shtick?
No, I think he really believes everything. Because, well, here's the thing. I mean, look, I want to believe, but if, let's say I was interviewing you and you had, proof the earth was flat. And you told me all this stuff, and it's not really proof. It's your opinion, and it's circumstantial evidence, and it's junk science.
Yeah.
And I went...
Glaciers.
Yeah. Right.
And we're moving up.
Right. And I said to you after all that, wow. Coming up next, am I really doing my job as an interview? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's... So maybe it is just for the ratings or what, I don't know, but when you listen to George, like, I think he just believes everything. I think he just goes, okay, that's possible. Oh, that thing you just said that completely contradicts what my other guest just said, that's possible too. Why? Because I'm an empty vessel.
Yeah.
And I am not a critical thinker.
Yeah.
So Bill Ryan is either just a moron, which I don't think he is, or he's a con man.
Yeah.
And he realized that while he's never going to get to be a multimillionaire in this UFO world, he's not living on people's couches anymore.
That's true.
So he's carved out a little niche for himself, and Serpo didn't happen, people. Now, let me say this, and I've talked about this. Go listen to our past podcasts about Roswell and Area 51 and Bob Lazar and Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah.
I do believe in these things, but we now more than ever need to be critical. So, all right, is the U.S. government as well as other world governments in contact with other civilizations? Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. Is it possible that there has been at some point an exchange? It's possible.
Yeah.
Did Serpo happen? No.
I just thought of the fact that the exchange makes it seem like the aliens came down here, which I guess the one landing is what they meant.
Yeah.
But it makes it sound like it was like kids with backpacks, like little brown aliens.
Yeah, like a field trip, like a school.
To America.
Yeah, a school trip to France.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: if you're going to do an exchange, I mean, there was no real agenda to the exchange.
No.
It was like a semester at sea.
Yeah.
You're
just going to drink and wander around.
Yeah, just going to go.
Yeah.
When you really look into it, it just makes no sense.
No.
It's the government doesn't know what's going to happen to these people. The government has no way of communicating with these people. The aliens aren't offering an exchange of their own in terms of technology or anything like that. What does the U.S. government get out of this by sending 12 people, 12 obviously highly qualified, highly intelligent people on a one-way ticket to, Kooky Town where there's no time? It makes...
Well, did they ever, I guess I never read like a reason. Was it just that, like, let's see where this ship we reverse engineered takes us?
Well, no, because they left with the Ebens.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Just the one.
Well, just the one.
Yeah, the one wombat.
Right, the one, yeah, that's right. The one wombat. But again, for me, the only thing I need is Richard Doty. If Richard Doty's involved, he's such a sack of shit.
But if George Knapp was involved and Richard Doty, what would you have done?
I would weigh the information. But here's the thing, George Knapp would never be involved with Richard Doty. Yeah. George Knapp would just debunk Doty.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, look, if George ever goes over to the deep end, deep end and goes fucking nutty cuckoos, I will be the first to go, uh-oh. You done lost it, son. But again, with Richard Doty involved, and also I just remember being on Above Top Secret and being in there every day and watching Bill Ryan bend over backwards to change his story on an almost hourly basis to make
editing
it fit.
His creative writing story.
Right,
He's using it for edits.
Right. But it's and I think at the time even maybe not in the forums, but I know he was talking about this, or maybe even bragging about this, was so yes, they're breaking this really important story, but they're working on a book and a screenplay, and they're going to Hollywood and whatever. It's like, dude.
Be more obvious.
Yeah, it's just, and I've had some experience with that, it just, so, yeah, Serpo didn't happen.
Yeah.
Now, something like it could have.
Right.
But it didn't. But
it did kind of remind me of what we'll talk about at some point, like the Mars time travel type stuff. In a way, it was like reminded me of
the Mars time travel. So we're talking about Montauk.
Yeah, that stuff. It's not the same, but there's something that had hints of that kind of.
Yeah, it's the same in the sense that neither happened.
Yeah.
But What? You're no fun, Jonathan. But look, I am open to saying, okay, is the government in contact with alien races? If they've crashed here, which I believe they have, and they've been able to try, most likely. Would it be beneficial to set up some sort of semester abroad exchange? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did Project Serpo happen? No. No, it did not.
Yeah.
At all. Ever.
I can't believe how big it got, because it kind of sounded like I had never heard of it until I researched, and it sounded like one of the lamer.
Yeah. Well, and it sort of died down and went away.
Yeah.
And then I think the bigger YouTube got when people could put videos together, and then books were written about it. And the problem is, especially nowadays, man, these things just don't fucking die. You can't debunk shit anymore. It's impossible. And unless we can debunk stuff, we'll never get to the true stuff. If everything's true, nothing is true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It drives me insane.
Yeah. No.
It drives me insane. Now I know you believe Serpo happened.
Yeah, obviously.
Oh
my disdain.
God, Jonathan, you're so stupid.
Steven Spielberg for sure was in on it.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So that means if he's in on it, he must have known about so Super 8 was also a true story. It's a monster.
It's the Jumanati.
Oh.
They control everything.
Jumanati, I like that. Yeah. Well,
it's just like the Illuminati, but we have a better buffet.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Our secret meetings, we have an omelet bar. It's very nice.
I'm so jealous.
I know. You will never be allowed to join the Jumanati.
I won't. I can't unless I knock 3 times.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know why I'm putting these on. That's just fucking useless. All right. So again, no outro music. I'm going to try and mix some in.
So maybe there will be outro music.
So maybe there will be outro music. I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. But listen. So thanks for joining me. I think we agree.
Yes.
It's fucking crap.
It's
and Richard Doty is just a
dum-dum.
Just a scumbag.
Yeah.
He's just a scumbag. There's doing your job, and then there's getting your fucking rocks off by knowingly driving an already mentally questionable man insane.
Really depressing. Yeah.
As my friends at the gym might say, not cool, bro.
So, man.
All right, so listen. But look, I'm open to being wrong.
Yeah.
I really don't think I am. But if you have real proof, I want to see a UFO, I want to see a video from YouTube. But if you've got proof, if you've got real documentation, let's see it.
Yeah.
But Serpo, unfortunately, nah.
No.
Nah.
Not even.
All right. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, of course.
It's always wonderful to see you.
Anytime.
All right. I'll talk to you next week.
Anytime when I have time. Yeah.
That's true. You like a real adult.
Yeah. Well, it's not at night. I just go.
That's unfortunate.
Every weekend.
I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
All right. Bye, everybody.